Tim Bradley, Lomachenko put so much mental pressure on you. Okay, I'll run with it, Tim. But Kambosos showed way too much respect in there. He was too tense. Kambosos tried to catch Loma's jab and counter. And that's not a strategy in hindsight for someone who can put punches together well like Loma. As Tim pointed out, moving back in straight lines, and Loma just followed him out and did what he had to do. There was a good exchange in the fourth. Let's not pretend like Kambosos did not have its success. Lomachenko was marked up on both sides of his face. But he continued to move back in straight lines. It's no point waiting till your back touches the ropes before you take evasive action. You need to be able to do that in the center and around the perimeters of the ring. And they're the issues that Lomachenko is going to have with Shakur. He's not going to allow Loma 5 seconds of stalking him without changing the angle on him. And this is why they didn't take the Shakur fight after Loma lost to Devin. They opted for Kambosos and managed to get a sanctioning body to approve it. Even though Kambosos clearly lost to Maxi Hughes and no justice or redemption was sought after for Maxi. It is what it is. That's boxing. Lomachenko used some excellent footwork to outmaneuver Kambosos, and he had to keep resetting, and he was never going to get a rhythm when he had to keep resetting. He needed to stop going backwards, but he didn't know how to do it. He tried his hardest. Whatever confidence Kambosos had midway through the fight was gone. Like, he'd start an attack, and okay, let's say he'd miss the jab. He would then give up and then retreat. With someone like Lomachenko, you're not always going to hit him with the first punch. So if the first jab misses, you got to throw another jab. You got to throw a right hand. I've seen Kambosos throw better combinations, but, you know, it's hard to time Loma to hit with multiple shots like that. We've got to keep that real. It is hard. But George gave up and retreated and just gave Loma way too much time to download his algorithms into the matrix and then in turn destroy George. And that's pretty much what happened. If George Kambosos' game plan was to fence with an elite Eastern European, what the fuck is that? But credit due to Lomachenko, he fought a brilliant fight. Yeah, he did. He did fight a brilliant fight. I thought the fight would be way tougher than this because I expected the younger man with hometown advantage not to be fencing with Lomachenko as much as he was. He's just playing right into his hands. But the rest that Lomachenko has had a year on from the Devin Haney defeat seems to have done him good. Definitely done him good. George couldn't cope with Loma's tempo and his backhand, and his face started busting up around the right eye. In the 11th, looks like he voluntarily went to the floor, then he was dropped by a left hand to the body. And he didn't want to be in there, you know what I mean? It was pointless. Like, he tried to be brave and keep it going, but this was never competitive at no stage. And you got to give Loma full credit because he went one better than Devin and actually got him out of there. Kambosos got up, but another body attack had him on the canvas again. 11th round knockout, IBF champion, IBO, if you recognise that as well. Who wins out of Shakur and Lomachenko? On Twitter, I said Shakur beats him easy, but I was in my feelings because I believe Lomachenko ducked him, and I still do believe that. But Shakur is unproven at 135. It's not all about speed and skills either. It's about the mentality. He needs to fight a complete fight to beat Lomachenko. All that safety, self-preservation before anything approach, like against Dos Santos, he doesn't beat Lomachenko. But I believe he's a better boxer than Teo. Controls the ring and the tempo better than Teo. Faster. He's got youth on his side. But I can't discount Loma's resume at 135 and all what he's been through. And if Shakur can't hurt Lomachenko could be an issue down the stretch. So it's an interesting fight. I have to get out of my own bias, which if you have a boxing channel, you should try to do. It's a 50-50. Bob said he's got this other fighter, Shakur Stevenson, although Shakur's got the one more fight against Artunian, if that's how you pronounce it. and then he's a free agent. He said, yeah, he's got this other fighter named Stevenson. If Lomachenko beats Kambosos, and he wants to unify the belts between them. Now, Shakur, I agree with Shakur, and I've said it for years on this channel that Bob Arum protected Manny Pacquiao from Bud. I pulled up receipts on it as well. And he said, they're not going to let me near Lomachenko. Like they didn't let Manny Pacquiao near Bud. They don't want these guys to get beaten. This is what he said after Lomachenko beat Kambosos. I predicted Shakur's tenure with Top Rank would end like Terence Crawford's did. Mayweather, he bought his way out of his contract. He told Shakur before he signed with Top Rank, you know Top Rank don't fuck with black fighters like that. They use you till they can't use you no more. And Shakur is quoting that post-fight Lomachenko, Kambosos. And there is another tweet where he knows he's not going to get Lomachenko next. And Shakur's in his feelings now. Kambosos shouldn't have been fighting for the title after that Maxi Hughes performance. I mean, let's keep it a bean. George was coming off a very fortunate victory against Maxi Hughes on the back of 2 unanimous points defeats to Devin Haney. Arguably 3 losses on the bounce before he fought Loma. And Lomachenko was coming off a loss for the IBF title. There's a lot of politics at play here. And this Baranchek guy, yeah, he's unbeaten. You've got him against Navarrete for the vacant lightweight title. And okay, that's the fight was being made. IBF belt. What they're going to do, they're going to get Lomachenko to fight the winner out of that fight. So he can have 2 belts to leverage any potential fights after that, unifications or undisputed. They're not going to go straight after Shakur. And Shakur knows that. Bob needs to stop the cap.
Stop the cap!
Is he trying to get Shakur to extend his deal there by promising him a fight that he's not going to make? At least not yet. Well, they used to do that with Terence Crawford. Yeah, we're trying to make the Pacquiao fight. We just need to do this and do that. And then we're further away from Crawford and Pacquiao than ever, all of a sudden. And that's what's going to happen here. Post-fight Kambosos Lomachenko, he's talking about a potential Gervonta Davis-Lomachenko fight. But last week he was talking about, oh, I've got this other fighter, Stevenson. I want him to unify with Lomachenko. Well, Tank isn't signed to Top Rank. Stevenson is signed to Top Rank. And there you are dangling 2 fights you could potentially make. If you don't commit to saying, yeah, I really want to make Stevenson and Lomachenko no matter what, the winner can fight Tank or anyone else who isn't on Top Rank, then he'll know you're committed to him. But Shakur knows what's up. He knows what's up. Why isn't Bob trying to make a Shakur Tank fight? Everything's Lomachenko, Lomachenko, Lomachenko. Lomachenko's in his 830s. Shakur should be the future. He's in his mid-20s. Shakur be a dumb motherfucker to re-sign with Bob, hoping that he's going to get Lomachenko next. And he knows he's not. That's why he posted up what he posted on social media. And he got a lot of backlash for that. Even though it's true what he's saying about him and Terence Crawford. It's true. He'd be a dumbass to re-sign with Top Rank. And it'd be even stupider to sign with the PBC, hoping to get Tank next. What happened for Terence Crawford after he beat Spence, when he committed to a multi-fight deal with the PBC? He realized when his rematch clause expiry date ran out with Spence, it's time to get the fuck out of there. They're not going to do nothing for him. After he beats Tank, let's say he beats Tank, who they got for him? Old Face Killer? Rolly? Pitbull Cruz? That's a good fight. He says here, Eddie Hearn is a hell of a promoter. He understands promoting, and I've got to give him his respect. Fire. Eddie Hearn responded with the spud. So what's next? Matchroom? We'll see. If Eddie gets Shakur, there's going to be a lot of people upset. Bob Arum, for one. Kind of like Oscar was upset with Eddie when he took the reins of Canelo's career when he left Golden Boy. They're going to be very upset. PBC will be upset. They would have probably have liked Shakur to go over to that side of the street, hoping to get a Tank fight next. And perhaps they would have got it. So there's going to be a lot of people whose noses are going to be put out of joint if he goes there. But Eddie marches on. Eddie marches on. He's attracting and tempting a lot of the fighters who they were saying previously he couldn't get. And you know the biggest weirdos are the ones who say, don't sign with Eddie, he's been here 6 years, burning millions and billions. Eddie didn't burn billions of DAZN's money. A lot of DAZN's losses have come about from acquiring other sports rights fees. as well as paying out boxing purses. And 6 years is what in comparison to Bob Arum, who started top rank in 1973 with Ali's manager Herbert Muhammad. Al Heyman started in American boxing with Vernon Forrest. At least the late 90s. I haven't got the dates, but he's been in boxing from at least the late 90s. But let's keep it real. Shakur going to MATCHROOM. If he signs to MATCHROOM, who's he going to fight? Campbell Hatton? What's that? He get the bag. And right now, I think that's what he's focused on, is the bag.
Where the cash at?
It's really 3 losses on the bounce for Jessica McCaskill. She got nothing against Sandy Ryan, except a lucky share of the scorecard. It was scored a draw. Natasha Jonas pointed out, when she punches, she leaves her feet behind. Yeah, like abandoned children. I said I wasn't going to make no jokes. Lord, man. Hey. She's unorthodox. Let's say that. There were some gridiron attempts, pushing Lauren Price into the ropes, a couple of them. There was the hooks from either hand. Shit was telegraphed like the Morse code. Oh, my days. Like, there was the Matador thing where she tried one of them overhand rights and got countered with the right hand. Like, hands down, there was some good upper body movement. They've obviously had their designs on a fighter they're going to try and emulate. And, yo, she's been a world champion, so I can only be so critical. But, you know, Lauren Price, she tied up when she needed to. I was trying to figure out what was wrong with her jab, and Natasha Jonas explained it. Leaves her chin up in the air when she throws it. But she was by far the better boxer. The fight was stopped in the 9th due to a head clash in the 5th. Jessica's eye was a mess, you know, like the swelling was justifiable reason to stop it. And even then, like, even though Lauren brought her head into the clash more than Jessica did, it was that technique, like her hands down, and then she threw this slow left hand, overhand right, way too wide, which was never going to hit the target, which ended up around Lauren's shoulder, and then the heads came together and clashed, and she turned away wincing, obviously distressed by the eye. She wanted to carry on, but come on, man, like, Rick Ramos is either a boyfriend or a husband, and he trains her. And while Jessica is going to be under the microscope for her crude style of boxing, if she's to continue, Rick, you can't train her, man, because she's not technically sound at anything. And maybe at 39, she's on her last legs as well, trying to collect some paydays, mainly against these British fighters, Chantel Cameron, Sandy Ryan, and now Lauren Price. Keep it real, like, it's not a good advertisement for women's boxing, because she really looked crude in there, really looked crude. It wasn't a good spectacle at all. But Lauren Price is WBA welterweight champion, joining Joe Cordina, another Welsh champion. Did what she had to do, stuck with it, she's champion. It was important that Denzel Bentley got off to a good start against Danny Dignum, the southpaw. And it started as a fencing contest. Their lead feet, they were basically touching toes. And Denzel timed a beautiful left hand. It's like a lance over Dignum's right lead. Good shot. And I think that punch set the tone very early. Dignum was rocked by the first lead. And he came back with some decent shots himself. But Denzel's jab looked very sharp, like a lance. In the second round, Denzel started targeting the body. First with the jab, and then with the right hand. The first of which rocked Dignum back a little. The second of which dropped him, and he was hurt. Denzel wisely targeted the body with 2 more rights to the body, and then another right to the body, dropped him again, hard. Dignum kept getting up, very brave. A right hand to the head, a hook, very vicious punch, dropped him. He got up very quickly, but his problem is he can't take a shot. Whether it's to the body or to the head, he gets hit early and he gets hurt, just like he did against Johnny Beck. Don't want to be critical, but I've got to break it down as I see it. He's in his 30s, and if you get hit repeatedly by the same punch, it means you don't adapt, you don't improvise very well. So his ring IQ isn't where it needs to be. Got hit with that right to the body way too many times. Way too many. Both men have lost to Johnny Beck. Denzel went the distance and gave a very credible account of himself. Dignum was destroyed early. in a couple of rounds. And this was a crossroads fight for both men. DIGNUM said he will retire if he loses this one. And he was beaten badly. He was beaten very badly. Denzel looked very sharp. A lot better than he did against Nathan Heaney. Had his tactics set out. Counter jab, target the body, and it worked a treat. Second round stoppage for Denzel Bentley, coming off that loss to Nathan Heaney. In March, Bentley versus DIGNUM took place at the York Hall, East London. I expected Denzel to win, but not that early. Not that early. Upwards and onwards for Denzel. DIGNUM, he said he's going to retire. I'm not sure if he wants to end his career like that, but he needs a lot of work if he's going to get past this level. A lot of work. Am I happy that the WBC finally elevated Carlos Adames to full champion? No, because it took 3 years of Jamal. Now, I don't care if his name's Jamal. You can correct it all you like. I don't give two shits. 3 years of him not defending his belt, telling the WBC to come and take the belt. I don't want the belt. The WBC covering for him because he says he has mental health issues. The WBC have never told us that he's provided documentation of this mental health that's keeping him out the ring. But yet, they're making Artur Beterbiev prove that this meniscus injury is legit. I don't get it. I don't understand that. It shows they're not consistent. It's all over the place. It shouldn't have took this guy getting in a car chase or whatever he did and getting arrested. It shouldn't have took that for Carlos Adames to get elevated. So no, I'm not happy about that. No. This division, while not as big as the heavyweight division in terms of what kind of money it can generate, it's an integral weight class 160. It always has been. So I was hoping there'd be some news on Johnny Beck, Alan Canalai taking on Carlos Adames now. But, you know, he's facing some Australian, Andre Mikhailovic. 21-0, 13 inside the distance. With an undefeated lightweight, Raymond Maratala taking on Tevin Farmer. June the 13th, Las Vegas. You know, the other day I was watching Eris Landy Lara fight the Australian stripper for the middleweight title. And before that, he beat Spike O'Sullivan. Before that, Thomas Lamana or whatever. I mean, what's happened to the 160-pound division? You know, when I think about 160, I'm like, yo, bring on Hamza Shiraz and Austin Amo Williams. Bring it on, ASAP. Because that's a way better matchup than a whole lot of the matchups that I've seen between the belt holders. The PBC have got Adames as full champion. They've got Eris Landy Lara as full champion. WBA plays WBC. How about you make a fight? A unification. Something of some interest to the boxing fans. I mean, Johnny Beck is a unified champion. Who gives a shit? Nobody. I mean, what? Turki Al-Sheikh has to rescue the 160 division as well? We can't ask him to do everything. But until he steps in, no one's going to do shit. No one's going to do shit. Most of the belt holders ply their trade in America, right? And this is what I'm saying. Yeah, let's bring a new way to America to prove himself to Americans when across the pond can't even organize one of the most prestigious weight classes in boxing. So we can get some unifications and decent title defenses rather than the rabble that we've had to endure for how many years now at 160. And with that,
I'm gone. Ghost, peace, sayonara.